the AD carry not farm that much. It's actually what everyone thought T8 was going to do at the start of the year, with CaliTrolz being the top lane carry. Is the true top lane carry actually Quas with 9 different champions in 9 games and some severe carrying last week, where he did win the MVP?
And we'll see if that happens this time around. Of course, Liquid did win their prior engagement between these guys, but that was on CaliTrolz playing Maokai, a champion that I hope for the fans out there we never see him play again. And thankfully, Liquid banned it for him. So
I don't know why you would ever ban Maokai.
Yeah.
His teammate.
Yeah, but apparently they really consider that champion to be important here. The Aurelia, though, a tasteful ban that will go away from CaliTrolz.
Or they're just trying to ban as many top laners as possible to see whose champion pool is in fact deeper.
Pro tip, it's probably Quas.
CaliTrolz has a pretty wide champion pool, too.
I mean, look, Jatt, I own all 120-some champions in League of Legends. Doesn't mean I can play all of them well. Like, Quas has won on most of these champions he's played, right? Like, it's a difference between picking them and then performing on them.
Very true. Well, T8 actually ends up banning the Rek'Sai. That means they were probably expecting a first pick Rek'Sai from Team Liquid if they let it go through.
And keep in mind with the Nidalee ban as well, and again 5.4 Jarvan nerfs, the question is what will Dominate play?
Yeah.
It's basically just been
no 10 for 10 for Quas.
All right.
Gets the duplicate Kennen game in there.
Yeah, repeats that one
but
from
even
last week. But hey, his Kennen was very good last week, so I can't complain too much. Now, CaliTrolz,
the Manor Swain.
In your mystic knowledge of top lane matchups, what is the Kennen counter pick? Now that Kennen's popular, 5th pick so far this split. Now, I've heard him say he likes a champion. I don't know if it's a good Kennen counter. Although if you silence him when he goes in with the E, then you can't zone you nom on that guy.
Perfect counter. Easy. Gragas, much better counter.
Yeah, knock him back.
You can actually knock him back in multiple ways. These would be the more logical picks for T8.
Wow. They double counter pick Kennen. They're like, hey, Quas, I hear you're good at League of Legends. Have some knockbacks. Get away from our team.
Yeah. Now the question would be, can he Zhonya's before the knockbacks hit?
You know what's cool about this as well is just in the microcosm of that top lane matchup. Never mind. Goes to Rumble. Okay, CaliTrolz, I believe this is his first Rumble of the split.
Yep.
So showing something a bit new here, but a team fighting based, though still damage focused top laner.
Interesting choice. I'm a little surprised you didn't go with the top lane Gragas, but I think farming in that lane might be a little bit rough for the Gragas, and you never know if you're going to actually be able to knock Kennen out if he Zhonya's at the right time. It becomes a very swingy and tricky lane.
Yeah. All right, well, Team Liquid.
Sounds like they're talking about their bot lane picks right now. They're probably looking to lock in their bottom lane now and then pick their mid laner and jungler later for the team.
Yeah, no rush showing the mid lane, though that said, Team8 being on red side means they get the guaranteed counter pick on that lane if they want. In fact, Team Liquid could just hand Team8 every matchup in a row. It's like, here's Kennen. Okay, well, we'll pick our top laner against that. Here's our bot lane. Well, we'll pick the AD carry to supplement that.
Oh, jungler.
All right, so Jarvan does come in for IWillDominate. He had played a bit of Vi before. Didn't want that one here. Thresh, though, looks like they're being somewhat slow in showing what the team comp is here.
Yeah. I mean, remember, we are on the most recent League of Legends patch, 5.4 here. Jarvan has been taken down a notch. No armor on his flag. It's also a champion that IWillDominate has not played since week 4, very start of that, against who else but Team8 in their victory. So at least he has a bit of a track record of success on it against these guys. Maybe lock people in with the Kennen. It's more of a generalist early game utility pick though here.
Yeah.
They have the Jarvan and Thresh, 2 champions that can do a lot of stuff. It gives them a lot of freedom for their AD carry and mid lane pick if they just wanted to take damage in those roles.
Well, speaking of taking damage, a very bursty team coming out from Team8 here. Will it actually be the victor for Slooshi? Graves Janna makes a bunch of sense. You get some really high-powered spells coming across. It will be Vi actually for Porpoise. So the team generally wanting to go in and having a lot of ways to supplement that.
Yeah, the Vi, good dive support since they have long-range follow-up for it. Team Liquid, honestly, can shift their team composition in pretty much any way imaginable with these last 2 picks. They have enough crowd control from their first 3 picks, and they already have the ability to split up their damage quite well. Their team comp will be completely defined by these last 2.
Ooh, Piglet gets to play Kalista here and Zed for FeniX. So once again, FeniX playing a split pusher, so they don't just have to wombo combo you. They don't just have to go on the Kennen and the hard dive, but FeniX can make plays by himself.
And FeniX has shown a lot of success on Zed.
Yeah.
It's what he played in there. A big-time victory they had over CLG. FeniX has shown a few flaws this year in his play style of being overly aggressive and not necessarily waiting for the rest of the team to go in. That can work with Zed, because if you go in a little bit too early, pop your R, get right back out of there, and you end up creating that distraction. Let's see what Slooshi does to lane up against Zed.
Well, all these are unlikely. There's clicking M champion, so maybe something towards the middle of the alphabet. Poppy, unlikely for the matchup. LeBlanc makes a whole bunch of sense. That is going to be the lock-in. Slooshi has done very well on LeBlanc, so much so that it got banned against him against Dignitas just last week, but this time he is back in action. So Assassins, Playmakers in the mid lane, AoE magic damage teamfighters up top. Honestly, just similar champions for a lot of these roles, oddly enough, for Team 8 and Team Liquid.
Yep. Pretty utility-focused team compositions. Team 8 is a better team for disengaging, and they have less commitful ultimates and poke. Like if you think of Graves, LeBlanc, Rumble, they can kill someone without necessarily fully committing. But if Team Liquid goes in, they are in for good. And that is the main differentiating factor in this team. But it does look like a pretty bloody matchup when you compare the way both team comps work.
Yeah, I gotta say, definitely gonna be fairly aggressive, I would expect. We'll see as we get ourselves into the game shortly. Last closing comments coming from the coaches. And now they are out of time. Peter and Matt, two coaches known by their first names here. No screen names needed, shaking hands and heading on off. This is going to be a fun one. So Team Liquid got to break that curse of forever fourth. With a couple of teams dropping games, they have a chance of moving on up. And Team 8 want to show that they are a real team for playoff contention. Now for this match, you can share your predictions by tweeting hashtag TLWin or hashtag T8Win to @LOL Esports. Show support for your favorite team. Who do you think is going to win this one? And get a good start here in Week 7 of the North American LCS.
Yeah, and the biggest storyline here is the return of Piglet now on Kalista, a pretty farm-dependent AD carry. How will the rest of Team Liquid play with him back on the team? Are they giving him side lane farm? Is IWillDominate going to be a more supportive Jarvan the fourth? How is everything going to work, and can Team Liquid still play their game?
Well, we'll see if Team Liquid's game works out well here. Quas once again on his Kennen, and CaliTrolz says that he has a different approach to champ select than Quas. You can hear about that.
For Quas, the difference between my pick and his pick is that he usually picks laners that's not really countable, so but really solid. So he doesn't necessarily pick for the looking at the opponent's team comp and try to counter it, but he rather just picks a really solid champion and then just play around it, and he does that really well.
Oh yeah, sure enough, he blind picked it. How else can you react to a team comp?
Yeah.
I'm expecting things, Kennen.
First pick, Kennen. Obviously, during that soundbite, Dodo8 had to burn his flash. So another one of those slightly strange level 1s we've been seeing today. More action than we have been seeing for most of the split. Just happened today. But he was able to flash that hook from Xpecial. Also, Xpecial did skill up Death Sentence first.
Yeah, it's a bit weaker.
No Flay early on in lane. But maybe we'll end up seeing lane swaps nonetheless.
Now, Flay even still does help you last hit ever so slightly.
Yep.
Matters for people worse than Xpecial, though I don't think he's going to need it. But I would start Flay, so I don't embarrass myself. Looks like Team 8 going to go with standard lanes. Team Liquid, though, going to swap their dual lane up top. Spectre's learned at level 1, making it even easier for Xpecial to last hit.
Huh. Yeah, now we'll get to see the double jungle moves. And how much of it gets disrupted. Dodo without flash goes to try and disrupt Dom's jungle. Bold.
I guess it's a level 1 Jarvan, no CC,
so this
right?
is interesting. Both junglers are actually starting on the weak side of the map. In lane swap scenarios, I like calling the strong side the side with their AD carry and support, which will leave them a little bit open to support harassment. Xpecial is late with his, Dodo was early with his, and ultimately is relatively ineffectual for both sides.
And yeah, teammate quickly leaving that side of the jungle. They get the buff and they get out. That was the important thing they wanted. They're going to head back over to where the wolves and everything else are. Although Dom is still allowed to farm this entire south jungle, the Krugs, the Raptors, all of it. So it looks like, I guess, one extra greedy camp allowed as the Raptors were not mirrored by teammate.
This is remarkably similar to the lane swap strategy we saw last game.
Yeah.
Impulse versus Cloud9, where the team with the Kennen decides for the 1v2, saying Kennen can get enough with his Shuriken and be safe enough with his Electric Surge. And at this point, Team 8 doesn't even try to maintain a freeze. They're actually shoving him in, which is going to give a huge experience advantage to Team Liquid down the stretch, getting solo experience in the jungle and solo experience down bottom lane. But with the shove comes the danger of the dive. How will Quas deal with this? Because he has no wards and he is by himself against 4.
Well, he is level 3. He's got 1 point and everything, so maybe stunning someone up with the EWQ not too hard. And
that's a big wave. He should.
Always a chance.
If this is at all clean, he would die, and he has to just run away. He smells the dive here.
Out he goes, and teammate realizes, yep, no one around. They don't even show that dual lane, though. They don't guarantee that they were there in the first place. He can guess, but it's never a promise. And Quas will recall. He is level 3 all the same. The double jungle, though, puts CaliTrolz not far away, and now they do reveal themselves and say, yeah, you're right, we were there.
Yeah, you did it. You guessed. But they're going to try and push this turret down, actually. I wonder if this time teammate's going to try and kill the turret and then loop up to defend the other turret so they actually get a turret advantage.
We'll see if that happens right now. Piglet left alone top lane because Xpecial is roaming in behind Slooshi. Slooshi has not been bashful about aggressing onto FeniX. Might burn his distortion very soon here, which means his flash could be on cooldown in the next 30 seconds, but looks like no gank is found. Xpecial retreats. Teammate, instead, they don't go for the turret, they go for a drag, but they go with all 4.
Yeah, so they're going to delay the ability to go match that top lane push. Interesting choice right there.
Well, there is the Slooshi aggression. Good dodge in the hook. Takes some harass. He's out of potions, though, so I don't know how well Atlean's going to keep going for him. Hasn't even nursed much of a CS lead at all, so...
Because they didn't even finish the turret by the time they went up for the dragon.
Yeah, that bot lane turret's down to 203 health right now.
Yeah. Unless it's actually finished, though, this advantage, especially with the timing of their shops, the gold they get from the turret is not going to be converted into items. Despite getting the early dragon, I feel like the early to mid-game advantage will be in Team Liquid's favor from an experience standpoint, just because the way teammate played that sequence.
Well, there's a good chance. Let's see. About 1,100 gold, by the way, on both these AD carries. And it's going to be the early recall for the Graves. He can get pickaxe for himself and show up top before that turret goes down. Should be pretty clean. Piglet going to match that recall now himself. You can see that on the minimap. 3 versus 4. CaliTrolz is behind in this matchup. And as you said, Jatt, no turret gold to him.
Yeah, and now that they've already...
push.
Teammate needed to finish that turret if they're going to swap CaliTrolz back to the lane. Because CaliTrolz cannot pressure a Rumble back with an experience disadvantage. That turret, despite being at 100 self, is safe as can be for Team Liquid unless there's multiple ganks into that bottom lane.
Well, maybe some risk. Porpoise right now is too low to gank, so I don't think we're going to see much from that Vi for a short time. Dodo gets a couple of wards down. Could not afford Sightstone, but could afford a couple of manual ones. Dominate, though, with the Raptor buff on, could actually clear those away. And he's going to sneak right through. They do not know he is here. Dodo's flash is back up, though.
Yeah, I feel like Team Liquid doesn't want to move through that large minion wave, and they're hoping that Dodo can face check so they get him engaged before he can flash. That's the only way this actually results in a kill.
Well, they're chain pushing. Piglet's going to go in now. Here's probably going to be Jarvan. Nice knockup, but Piglet comes in. Good jump by maplestreet. Now, can he flash the EQ, or can Dodo do that? Yes, they can. Hook comes in, catches Dodo. That's surely first blood, and it is for Piglet.
Hey, that's exactly what Team Liquid wants for a guy coming right back into the lineup. Action mid.
You got Vi coming in from the side. FeniX got to be careful. Level 6 versus level 4. Tries to dodge away. Ignite is on, but FeniX jumps to a minion, jumps over the wall. That's going to be the kill for Porpoise. A trade in mid.
Wow. FeniX with a very questionable flash forward while jungle pressure was there. The best case, I feel like he trades 1 for 1, but worst case happens and he dies. Dive in this lane, force the TP.
They force the flash, the ignite. You
Whoa!
nearly taken out Maple. He's gonna survive, but only barely. True Grit actually reducing the damage from the Rend, enough to survive the whole time. It looks like Dodo can maybe try to hold the shield. The TP, by the way, from CaliTrolz was stopped. I'm not sure if it was manual or actually forced by Quas.
Even so, that's a level 5 Rumble. The TP was more of a warning shot than an actual threat for Team Liquid. Really got to track Piglet this game. Piglet getting started off with the first blood is so great for Piglet in general, especially on a champion like Kalista here. It's kind of a tricky team comp, though, being up against LeBlanc and a Vi, as well as FeniX now getting punished by Slooshi after that over-aggressive move.
And it's not an early Hexmaker for FeniX, so he's not really respecting the all-in potential of Slooshi, who's now on Fiendish Codex, so a nice bit of ability power there. Dodo spotted by a Spectre, dual laning topside, quick wave clear. It will leave Quas stuck in the lane, and give CaliTrolz a pretty good recall. Should give him... oh, he's... what?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he just...
So, he can afford Haunting Guys. He could have before he stopped the recall.
Yeah.
But now he's going to be late to lane by a few more seconds than he would have liked. Huh.
Turret's still up across the board. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
many of them very low.
Piglet, of course, going for the Hurricane build, but early Vamp Scepter. So it's going to take a little bit longer for the Kalista to really turn on it. I think the big thing here is Slooshi, Porpoise, and how heavily they can punish this mid-game with decently farmed Vi and LeBlanc.
So I actually do think this Kalista build's actually not too bad power-wise. Because Hurricane's so cheap, you have Vamp Scepter Hurricane at 3,200 gold, which is faster than Triforce, faster than Infinity Edge. It's actually pretty darn good. Just the extra 10 AD actually means more than you might think for Rend damage, because you have so little otherwise.
Okay.
It's actually the build I really like. I saw Sneaky do it a while back in solo queue and figured that was the one I wanted to go for.
So I've definitely seen Kalistas do the Vamp Scepter Hurricane build because you want the lifesteal on a champion that's so close range, and when you're hitting multiple targets, the lifesteal's amazing. But I've also seen, in lane swap scenarios, Kalistas just bypass that Vamp Scepter and go straight for the Hurricane.
Okay.
Which is kind of what I expected Piglet to do, but the fact that they swap back to a 2v2 explains this. It's just slightly slower than what you'd normally see from a lane swap Kalista, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see if the lack of AoE bolts by 800 gold will actually make a difference here in this game, or if it works out all in the end. Xpecial still heavily roaming around the map, usually leaving Piglet by himself. So he's getting solo XP. Piglet running around that. Only level 4 here on Thresh. Slooshi once again trying to trade with FeniX. Deathmark's going to do absolutely nothing.
Well, it basically just avoided a bunch of damage from Slooshi. If Slooshi procs that one chain, he was guaranteed to proc the next.
Red buff, by the way, at MapleStreet. He was given that not long ago.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, Graves versus Kalista is already a good matchup. Imagine you get a red buff on top of that.
Yeah,
really easy.
Forcing Xpecial back into this lane. It's actually a really good way of diminishing Xpecial's roam, just giving that blue buff over to MapleStreet.
Lands a Q. Xpecial not far from level 6. He's actually only like 5.2.
Ooh, they want to dive. That's
to
deep.
go in onto FeniX. The smite used. Nope, just kidding. Porpoise, though. Wow. A lot of health loss for this one. Teleport coming in right in front of him. There's Quas. Quas does have flash. Porpoise jumps over the wall. He chooses not to chase, but Kalista is nearby.
Yeah, the Janna can reach that spot faster than Kalista Thresh, and I think the top wave was pushed into Team Liquid's turret at the time, so they didn't want to get down there. Now it's kind of all about how quickly does Quas want to get back to bottom lane to avoid giving up an advantage he had on CaliTrolz, and can he make a play here? At the moment, that teleport is a big failure.
I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
He actually couldn't collapse on that.
It looked like it was a sure kill.
Oh, absolutely.
Based on where Porpoise was, but Porpoise took the proper route out of there. There was no flash for what would have been a skill shot for the kill.
Ooh, IWillDominate. You know, he is alone in this
Caught him while
fight.
he was overheated.
The ulti's on. CaliTrolz misses the equalizer pretty heavily.
Dom can kill him.
Dom with the ulti, but he's slowed. He can't reach him. Flashes for the ult. Flash from CaliTrolz. Out he goes.
Jeez. The equalizer really saved CaliTrolz's skin right there. I thought Dom was just going to ult another Q and get the kill.
Yeah.
Nice job by Dominate, just catch him while he was overheating to even be able to duel the Rumble. but unfortunately not able to get the kill. And he had to burn his flash too. That's the
That is a big one.
unfortunate thing for Dom.
So a big stack of attack damage. maplestreet adding double long swords on his most recent recall, so the Youmuu's build likely for him. And this top lane turret has managed to survive. No further damage has really been done by Team Liquid since the swap came back. And the bottom lane turret did finally die due to Quas' teleports. That turret finally did get picked up. Now Dragon's back on the map. CaliTrolz is topside with teleport. And after shoving the top lane in, I imagine they bring their duo lane back to the bottom as well and consider contesting Dragon 2. Or they put, or if they don't contest Dragon 2, they get top turret.
They're recalling right now.
Okay.
In that top lane. So
I think either would have been good. Like, you could just kill a turret off this.
Yeah, and oftentimes trading turret or turrets for Dragon, as we've seen time and time again, can be the right call. At this case, though, since teammate has already received Dragon 1, Dragon denial can become more important than a turret. Not so much about getting the Dragon, but just making sure Team Liquid cannot get the Dragon.
Yeah.
Makes this look like the priority for teammate because of the preemptive recalls for that.
Well, the duo lane stays top, and they're getting surrounded on right now. I don't think there's any good wards by Xpecial. Just one got spotted now.
Sure.
The duo lane, okay, yeah. Xpecial got some wards down in time. I didn't know if he had. I hadn't looked in time. Looks like that gank doesn't happen. So a lot of time wasted. Well, only a little bit of time wasted by Dodo and Porpoise. They've sent Graves to solo bot lane, actually. So just very tricky lane movements right now by the teammate members. Dominate is trying to control Dragon maybe a little bit.
Whoa.
Another trade attempt. This time, actually, Slooshi will take some damage, but Dodo is back, gets a knockup. They're going to buy some time.
So while all that was happening, though, CaliTrolz burned his ultimate to try and defend the turret and still wasn't able to. That actually would greatly diminish their ability to defend a Dragon. It seemed like we can force that fight.
And Hurricane's up now for Piglet, so it's kind of like everything coming online all at the right time. Quick Scuttle Crab, run down the river, and now does teammate even want to fight? Slooshi very chunked out by FeniX's ult. FeniX still plenty healthy. Maybe teammate have just run out of resources with which to fight for Dragon. For now, Slooshi out of potions, still getting his own blue buff. Ward control is with Team Liquid. They're shoving in mid real quick. No one's pushing top back in to punish Piglet for being down here.
We're seeing a lot of action mid lane here, though. But no Rumble Up would be able to follow up this teammate engage. It's funny, both teams are actually scared away from Dragon, I think, by the respective top laners of their opponents. I remember all the way back in 2013 when Rumble and Kennen were very popular solo lane picks. Rumble top, Kennen mid. And the whole thing was, don't fight Dragon, Rumble, Kennen, Power Spike as soon as they have their ultimates, because those two champions destroy Dragon fights.
Yeah.
Now there's one on each team, so they're almost canceling each other out. These guys are just playing the lane game.
And Team Liquid, though, don't care that Equalizer was down. They're still going to be afraid of that champion and that team fight in general. So we go back to the laning phase. Now, what will the lanes be? Well, it's CaliTrolz bot lane. Even though they're not putting him opposite that, looks like they're sending LeBlanc top into the long lane, the garbage lane where their turret's dead. So letting Slooshi really try to abuse the fact that he's got a bunch of ability power in here with almost a Zonius. Both teams duo lane mid. Maple, very jovial in that lane.
I feel like this game has a lot of killing left in it from a champion perspective. The early game, because of the lane swap, has been somewhat subdued, and both teams are taking a more passive approach. Good ward control, nice sentinel control by Piglet to kind of avoid any heavily outnumbered matchups. But just because the jungle matchup, Vi versus Jarvan, Zed and Thresh being the supports, we're going to be seeing some big-time action in the team fights.
And we definitely are. Right now, the top lane fight is coming in. Slooshi forced to escape away. He thought he could beat Quas. I don't know if he's right on that one, but his Ignite is still up, and he's chugged his potions here. Now, Quas only 30 magic resist. Certainly not very much. Yeah, maybe we see Slooshi try to bully. Now, he just warded for himself. There's actually almost no good gank paths available to dominate. And maybe round 2 of this fight goes Slooshi's way.
Especially because he got the blue buff and the substantially lower cooldown on his ultimate.
Yeah.
The fact that he was able to get Quas before level 11 is pretty big, too. Although you can really sense that IWillDominate's getting a bit impatient with the way this game is going. He wants to find fights. They have good pink ward control in their own jungle, but they just haven't gotten that one pesky pink out of the red buff.
Yeah.
We'll check out that mini-map, but pressure here is on the split pushing LeBlanc, actually.
Yeah, getting slow but sure turret damage down in that lane. Meanwhile, the exact opposite matchup, FeniX versus CaliTrolz. If we take a snapshot of the CS, it's an overall equal minion game. +10 for one mid laner, +10 for the other top laner. So if these lanes mean any more, if these actually become imbalanced lanes, I want to see if one of those teams gets a solo lane CS advantage. Oh my god, how about a kill advantage?
You talked about that 30 MR.
Yep.
And that's the difference there. Quas overstaying a little bit, has no ultimate left, and he just underestimated Slooshi's damage straight up. That was not a hard kill for Slooshi to get.
Nope.
Quas was just not respecting that damage and was unwilling to give up turret.
Well, too bad. Turret's dead. Quas 0-1-0 in this one.
Very
and
rare.
Slooshi again.
A very rare mistake for Quas.
That's true.
He's usually such a solid top laner there. And it opens up a little bit of something here. However, because his teleport is still up and a mid laner was top lane, Team Liquid can equalize for this dragon.
They got the ward control to boot, so no one around. They can tell the dragon went down, so everyone's got the timer. Some of these guys were in lane, but all that said, Team 8 trade a kill and a turret for a dragon. Can't be too sad about that one. They are 1,000 gold up, but this game's still pretty slow overall. It's mostly solo kills and attempts at rotations.
And both of these teams have been playing very well coming into this game. We mentioned before, both of them on 3-game winning streaks. Team 8, however, had slightly easier opponents, and now they're having to play against the tough opponents in the league, the teams at the top of the standings. Whereas Team Liquid is coming off wins against TSM, Gravity, and CLG. These are the games that should be the winnable take-care-of-business games for Team Liquid if they want to be that top of the standings team. And the pressure is just added on to the fact that this is Piglet's second chance here with the team.
Well, so far in a second chance, he is 1-0-0 and has the highest minion kills in the game. Mechanics, of course, never Piglet's problem here. Provided he gets masteries, he looks like he's going to do okay.
Yeah.
Bloodthirster not far away from him either. In fact, he's this gold away from having it. Actually, sorry, he's mid lane. I was in the future.
Yeah,
now he's this gold away from having Bloodthirster.
All right. He's going to be getting there soon.
And actually, no one but Janna's mid lane.
Yeah, they can burst through this. They got to be a little bit careful of the rumble coming from the flank. They see that ward.
And Jarvan's here as well, and looks like Team Liquid will not quite stay. They know the risks of getting Equalizered on. LeBlanc still pushing topside, though. Quas got pulled in, and Zed's still bottom. No one is stopping Slooshi, but Slooshi's on top of a ward, and he has no vision of his route in. This could be so deadly for Slooshi.
He's just waiting for that LeBlanc jump assassination. He may get assassinated himself. He wants to stun.
I'm surprised they didn't pull Thresh in.
Yeah.
And have Xpecial hook into Flay, and that's pretty much a guaranteed kill. But just Quas pushing him out. That was actually something that could have been punished from Slooshi. And mid lane, still the pressure. Team Liquid really playing around Piglet right now. This team, so far, so good. Mid lane gonna drop for this one. Holding Quas with the team has worked out. Here comes Slooshi, here comes Porpoise. They're gonna go in. Can they get Piglet all the way to the back line through the box? In comes Equalizer. Quas forced to run. 1 for 0. They trade back and forth, but Xpecial, the second casualty of Team Liquid. 2 for 1.
All the while, they were split pushing with the FeniX Zed, so they actually get 2 turrets out of this exchange. That was very much an attempt to protect Piglet right there. You saw Dom using his EQ backwards, and they almost did it. But because it was a 5v4 with that split push, it was a lost fight, and they lose the turret on the backside.
And Slooshi's actually got the room to make some plays on FeniX. He's out of mana, and his team likely did not help too much, but turrets mostly equalized. 3-3 the overall turret score. Although teammate were up 2-1 before this all happened.
Crazy fight here. Porpoise getting the Vault Breaker onto Piglet was very key for the start of this fight. It meant everyone had to peel back for him. Funnily enough, Piglet isn't even the one who fell down. Dominate helped out a little bit. Xpecial got trapped in the Cataclysm. I feel like Xpecial may have been able to survive that one, but he had his flash the whole time. I guess he decided he was done for regardless. Very interesting game now, Phreak. Even with these trades, teammate able to equalize the turret game.
So, turret game equal, dragon game equal, kill score pretty close, and the overall gold within only 322.5 minutes in. Certainly anyone's game to win. Aggressive pink ward starting to come in for Team Liquid. You got a decent defensive pink ward line still there for Team 8 all the same, but I like the vision from Liquid a little bit better here.
And this is very much a team that is now revolving around Piglet. It's something that didn't necessarily work for Team Liquid the first time round, but funnily enough, when Keith was in there, a lot of the compositions were around protecting him as well. Team Liquid does show they can play around an AD carry very well in team fights, as long as other members of the team get farmed. We haven't seen very many games that Team Liquid wins when Quas isn't having a good match. And
very true.
Quas is not having a good match right now. Down in CS to both of the enemy solo lanes, on Kennen, but unable to find plays thus far.
Yeah.
This will be a bit of a new experience for this split if Team Liquid can pull this one out.
Well, they picked up Piglet this year. If there's any one player that's going to pull them out of a, oh, my top lane is not doing well, it's a former world champion AD carry, Piglet, highly regarded, 226 farm. You think this guy would be set up to succeed and put the team on his back. We'll see if this is the case. 40 seconds on Dragon. The ultis are all up. The minion waves. Bot lane pushed in for Team Liquid. Top lane pushed in for Team 8. Mid lane pretty much equivalent here. We'll see if any one team can hold a pressure lead when Dragon's on the table. Quas in the top lane does have teleport. No risk to him. Similar situation for CaliTrolz, though he is not matching that split push.
Yeah. LeBlanc is a split pusher. Is always interesting because she has so much kill pressure on opponents, but just such low turret pressure.
Yeah.
It's a fun little itemization distraction that these guys have put up against each other, both defensively itemizing against one another, making these matchups all the more interesting. Slooshi's looking ahead, but there's the goes.
Nice Zonians, but it's a little bit late. He's going to take a bit of death mark damage. Flash by FeniX. He's still trying to run away. Dragon is alive right now. You think this goes to him. Ulti by Porpoise. There he goes. Dunks him down. Gets an assist thanks to a shield by Dodo. Teammate get a 1-for-0 and control over Dragon.
Really slick play there. Maw of Malmortius not saving him in the end because it was the physical damage that finished him off there. On Vi, it's because Slooshi had the backup of Porpoise, and that's kind of what we've been talking about when Team 8 has been in this 3-game winning streak. While CaliTrolz has been good, it's Porpoise and Slooshi that are really the ones stepping up.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it again this game. 4 of the 5 kills, high kill participation, 80% for both of those guys.
Exactly.
They are working very well together.
They absolutely are. The ganks have been good. They've stopped the split push of FeniX.
Oh man, they can totally do this.
Yes, they can. Kalista is great at this, and looks like Team 8 largely unaware.
They're sensing it though. They're going to be able to ward this out.
Trinket used. FeniX far away. No dice for Team Liquid. Good instincts. Good trinket by Maple. All is well.
Nice idea.
Yeah.
By Team Liquid, but Team 8 had the correct instincts there. That's actually one of those where Team Liquid would have wished to keep more people on the map.
Yeah.
The only reason
like
Team 8 had
push
such
mid.
obvious instincts was so they were there. If they could have just pretty much 2 or 3-manned that and then tried to keep the other people in lane, maybe it would have worked. That's the only way you usually see Baron sneaks work, is if it's a low number of people taking it.
Yeah. They needed a full tank as a problem. If Quas were like 200 farm Scion, they could 3-man it. But the
or even
is
if he was 200 farm Kennen, right? Like he's...
I mean, yeah, if you had like a Zonias, right, for some armor, but just... It's basically because Kalista can do enough damage by herself. You just need someone who can withstand 15 seconds of Baron, and that is not...
anyone on the team.
No, that is not 0 armor item IWillDominate or Quas without a Zonias.
Fair.
So, unfortunate. Slooshi looking for the play on FeniX. Again, we just keep seeing these two brawl. The ult, that's still going to do damage. There's the Zonias properly timed. FeniX going to get jumped on Equalizer. Not quite enough. Quas trying to trade back on in, but in comes CaliTrolz. Porpoise actually gets the kill. Smites Quas. That's the second one. Another 2-0 for Team 8. Dominate forced away. This map belongs to Team 8.
I think it's time for Team Liquid to stop trying to split push, because Slooshi and Porpoise are just more coordinated. Slooshi, that's the second or third 1v1 he has defeated either a Quas or a FeniX with, and Porpoise is better at running down single targets than a Jarvan. Normally, you don't want to force team fights as a Zed, But against a Vi LeBlanc, who were clearly better in this split push situation, maybe they will have to.
Yeah. And they certainly can't seem to make Porpoise go anywhere else. He's happy to sit there and help Slooshi time and again beat up FeniX here. Now, thankfully, that mid laner from Team Liquid will continue to rise from the ashes and try again. But how long before the next blows up? Teammate 2,000 gold ahead right here. 13 Vi, and the question, I guess, for me is what's their next step? Because their kills have largely been reactions to Team Liquid being aggressive.
Yeah.
I haven't seen many teammate aggressive plays, really.
True. I think it might be the long game
Ooh.
of Dragons.
That's a hard ward to get.
Quas is good at warding.
Yeah.
Pop that ward right over the wall. I do want to talk more about the farm distribution on Team Liquid. Even though Piglet is top farming on the game, it is not to the detriment of IWillDominate. He, at 115 CS, that is very IWillDominate-ish jungle CS 28 minutes into the game. If this were a LCK League of Legends game where junglers are very much supportive style, that number would be around 70 at this point in the game. And you would see a little bit more specifically on the mid laner, I feel like. But FeniX has struggled this game to keep up. So Piglet CS, I'm just trying to make the point, is on his own. And again, Slooshi goes aggressive on FeniX.
Yeah, and every single time, he seems to force the death mark. FeniX has to, it seems like, burn it. And then nothing happens over and over and over again. FeniX unable to make good whenever he presses R. Slooshi happy to re-engage this one with no death mark. He can't dodge QRW.
He's got a 2-level advantage. He lifesteals up pretty well. Whoa!
Ooh.
He can dodge that, though.
Well, decent trade, but FeniX now out of energy. Slooshi's cooldowns might be back soon, but Team Liquid's here. They've got 3 members, but guess what? Teammates also got reinforcements. They're going to back out, though. Looks like Liquid controlling the numbers advantage. April goes back mid to shove the wave in, though. Now, there's a big top wave that is pushed towards Teammates' turret. So finally, some kind of split push in a sense, some kind of push pressure stuck from Team Liquid. But it just seems that there's nothing these guys can do to capitalize on any of these lane leads.
No, and it's really Team 8 who is the team extending the split push game. It seemed like it was FeniX who initiated it, but Slooshi is the one who's like, you know what, if I can win this split push, I'm not going to let Team Liquid start team fighting. Team 8's just going to continue to do this split up lane game because LeBlanc and Vi are so effective. And if they can get Vi farmed enough during this little mini game they're doing with split pushing, then they won't have to worry about Piglet's Kalista late game. Because Vi will get there and just be in the face of Kalista. I think that's the hope for Team 8 here.
Yeah, and I do like the Vi for that purpose. Looks like Piglet may have a hard time, though last time around he did outplay it. He got away, and he got the Vi killed. So there's always a way for Team Liquid, but I don't know how they expect to truly win the game. You mentioned team fights before, but as gold leads get worse, that becomes harder. Right now, vision fairly dark for Team Liquid. They've got 2 in like the top left of the map by the river and like kind of nothing else. Whereas there's a few decent deep wards by Team 8 in the south. I think Slooshi is, well, he's got no wards in inventory. Otherwise, he could have warded that jungle.
Yeah.
Dragging up in 10 seconds. Looks like number 3 on the plate for Team 8.
And I feel like that's where this game is headed for the 4th/5th Dragon type of conflict. With the way that Team 8 is pushing this split push game, they're not giving Team Liquid team fighting opportunities. And since Team 8 has the split push edge, they are the ones able to control these dragons again and again.
Yeah.
So we're potentially 12 minutes out from some really game-defining fights.
Yeah, I think Dragon 5 definitely an easier sort of game-winning objective to go for, or I would say less risky than Baron. In that you get caught in Baron Pit, life gets painful, they might steal it, they got Baron, oh god,
especially against
hard.
Kennen.
Oh sure, yeah, he shreds your armor and MR just by being near him. Whereas Dragon's like, yeah, you know, he's kind of cool, but you know, I don't really care if you steal Dragon 2. Oh no, my turrets go down faster. These turrets that you can't push down, so. The tier 2 line of turrets though, heavily uncontested. So far, no one's really been able to make their way in. Like the waves get pushed in, but no one feels comfortable pushing in with their bodies, so they take really just surface level damage. Couple scratches in the paint, nothing otherwise happens. Team 8, as you mentioned, 12 minutes away from Dragon 5. And it seems like with how slow they're playing, that really might be where this game is heading.
Yeah, in games where teams don't have significant advantages, the turret shields on those guys are just so massive.
Yeah.
Really, a team needs to create a team fight outside of those turrets before they can make the push happen.
But interestingly, no one's kept aggressive ward pressure up enough to like, oh, we'll fight you for your red buff.
Yeah.
Like, we'll fight you in your jungle over this objective you want to contest us for.
Neither jungler has gone sidestone this game.
Yeah. And only one upgraded stealth ward
Per
dropper.
side, yeah.
Right. So you got to buy a lot of the ward vision that you would want on these teams. And really, CaliTrolz and Quas aren't pushing aggressively. Like, they are not the guys that can get aggressive wards down. And with how scary you think Zed and LeBlanc are, I don't know if the sports can do that either. So aggressive wards is just hard to come by. And now
Totally
FeniX is out of item slots. He bought some potions.
So Phreak, as the AD carry item analyzer, brutalizer on Piglet. Go.
I like it because he's facing all squishies. But, I mean, the exception of being Vi, but like, you can kind of deal with that in your own way by just trying to ignore him and jump around it. Vi is actually, outside of the ult, ignorable by Kalista. And so you're like, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to go hit other guys.
How about Ghostblade? Because it's upgraded.
Yeah. So I also don't dislike Ghostblade. The move speed's a bit wasted, but like, attack damage, attack speed are the two stats that Kalista wants, and armor pen being the third. So like, he's just getting more of those things, and I can't really hate. And again, there's no true tank that can really force aggro. So Piglet just gets to attack things. Similar situation for maplestreet, by the way. He's just trying to burst the generally squishy lineup down.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting for me watching these team fights for Piglet, knowing that he has that low armor pen for squishy targets. Also knowing that I feel like Porpoise's main job is just to ult Piglet, smite him for reduced damage, and just be in his face with what has now become 217 armor. A little surprised about that Sunfire cape.
Yeah, that's strange.
From Porpoise, but to each their own.
I like a Frozen Heart. Like, I really hate Frozen Heart when I'm Kalista.
This is the Baron sneak we were talking about. Keep people on the map, take Baron with a couple people, but this time, Teammate has that super tank with a bunch of armor to try and sneak this one down and diminish the threat. The Sentinel not going in the Baron pit either.
Oh, wow. Wait, you didn't send the Sentinel into Baron. That's a pretty big... Yep, there we go. Baron Asher goes down 35 minutes in. The duo Baron.
There it is.
And that was a nice sneak by Teammate. So now, what are they going to do with it? 3 dragons means they've got move speed. Baron buff means that split push that they were so keen on using now has really buffed minions. Quas can't wave clear that. There's no way he can kill melee minions fast enough. FeniX can try, but he's going to run out of energy before that happens. Piglet can, but he's afraid of getting dived by Vi. So really difficult situations for Team Liquid. Teammate here actually has the chance to get those tier 2 turrets down over the next 2.5 minutes.
Yeah,
I would guess.
As Meteos said in our Baron feature at the start of the day, that Baron buff is one of the only reliable ways to take down tier 2 turrets. Especially if they set up a bit of a split push here. And this could also be the instigator of action. If Teammate actually groups to take down these turrets, they are finally exposing themselves to the Jarvan Kennen initiation.
Well, we'll see if that initiation does happen. As we wait for the stages to start, I have to kind of wonder how the game has gotten like this. In that Team Liquid was on this hot streak. They had beaten all these good teams. They seemed aggressive, willing to take all these plays. And then FeniX dies 3 times. They're like, we're going to wait inside our base for a while.
Team Liquid's early game didn't work out as well as usual. Quas started this game with a deficit, where he's been starting so many of these games with a heavy advantage. I think that's the big thing. The second big thing is FeniX is one of the main aggressors on this team, and when your aggressive player is behind, you cease to be able to make aggressive plays. But Dominate, he's going to be aggressive for everyone.
Flash is out, Xpecial wants more. Teleport comes in comes Zed, looks for Mabel. By the way, he's got Quicksilver Sash. Nothing done, but there's Quas. Gets the entire team in the back line. A 1-for-0 as FeniX falls. Dodo's going to help him get the kill, and Quas does die. They trade back onto CaliTrolz 2-for-1. That is still a fight the Teammate wins, but they got some Baron buffs off the map.
Both teams decided it was time to go in. FeniX and Quas trying to go through all the peel from Teammate, but because CaliTrolz was inside Team Liquid, Piglet could not support the heavy amount of dive damage that Team Liquid was able to do. They end up losing that fight 1-for-2. Oh boy.
That does not have much magic resist on it. In fact, many AD carries have been cutting magic resist lifts like mad. just because they really don't think they need them.
Yeah, Piglet does have probably none, because he's got the Aegis of the Legion aura, which is giving him 20.
Yeah.
He's got the QSS, which is giving him 30.
Yeah, he's sitting at 37 base MR from Runes and Masteries.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical for Korean AD carries. You run, I think it's 5 to 6 magic glyphs, and it just means when you've got targeted magic damage like this, it's just a big risk. Like, you're guaranteed to take that kind of damage, and it's just a bit of a worry. Dragon number 4, quickly claimed by Team 8. At 34 minutes, that'll respawn.
Tricky thing about this is Team Liquid doesn't actually know that 44 minutes is the moment when the 5th Dragon is going to be coming back up, because they didn't see that.
If you press tab a lot, you can tell, but...
Yeah, they'll have a rough estimate.
I'd give them plus or minus 10 seconds if they're really on their game.
Yep. Agreed.
Nice smoke screen. Actually buys a bit of zoning time, but low range AD carry and the threat of hooks. You mess up, you get 1 hook on you. That's not on maplestreet. If it's on Slooshi, this game gets turned right around on a bad team fight. Mid lane tier 2 goes down, though. Good rotational play by Team 8. And that is turret number 4. They finally cracked one, oddly enough, after Baron timed out. But they got a Dragon for it. You can't really hate on their objective control. Still a slow, controlled game by this team. I gotta say also, these guys stopped playing the AoE wombo combo by around week 4 or 5. Said, you know what, yeah, let's go skirmishy instead.
Yeah.
And that transition actually worked incredibly well.
For Team 8.
Yeah, for Team 8.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
They stopped going Malphite or they started going LeBlanc Vi, Rek'Sai. CaliTrolz played something that could go solo for a while.
Yeah, and it's allowed Slooshi and Porpoise to make a lot of plays. They are the main guys doing the playmaking here. CaliTrolz has been pretty much a non-factor this game.
Yeah.
Just flame spitting sideways. And there's champions that can split push better than that, but he will have the rumble for the inevitable team fights that do happen. Slooshi is approaching absurdity here if he can finish his Lich Bane on LeBlanc.
Oh god, if you needed more targeted damage.
That's what he's probably going to be going for. He will want to instantly delete Piglet. That's the plan in fights. If they can do that, they'll end up winning the game. Team Liquid is in a really tight spot.
Yeah.
They're pushing in all their lanes. They're 1 Dragon away from giving up 5. They have no control around the Baron area. They're trying desperately by warding over walls to not get picked off while walking towards a potential Dragon 5th contest. I can just keep listing these ways. FeniX has no play of Ruin King. There's not an Infinity Edge on Piglet, so he's not a hyper carry yet. Quas is behind, no Death Cap in sight, no Void Staff in sight.
Yeah, I mean, just look how afraid FeniX is in his build. He went from Brutalizer Cutlass to straight all the way Mauve Malmortius, all the way to the full upgraded version, then got Merc Treads. Now he's getting towards a GA. Still, as you said, no Ruin King, no Yomus, no Black Cleaver. He's stopped building damage, and I wonder if that's even worth it. The Porpoise Elixir of Iron. So he's not going to get CC'd much by Quas here. Oh dear, just Team 8, they're playing slow, and to be fair, they're not ballooning their gold lead by much. Like, we keep talking about Team 8, they're 4,000 gold up.
It's still a contestable game. It's just the timer and the windows that Team Liquid have for coming back is ever shrinking right here. Team Liquid needs to find as many power spikes as possible before Dragon number 5. That's really the key here. GA completed onto FeniX.
Okay.
Likewise, Team 8 needs to do the same. I mean, if somehow Slooshi could get to a Lich Bane, I don't think that's going to happen because he's only sitting on 400 gold. But he's still sitting at 776 AP. Yeah. He's actually opted for the quicker one. He elixired up because he knows these Baron.
Yeah. So yeah, Baron in 20 seconds. Piglet is 600 gold from Infinity Edge. That is a big power spike. He's got 15% crit chance from his Yomus. He's got, okay, Hurricane doesn't crit, but still, he like will hit his main target pretty darn hard. And that is always, of course, a risk to deal with. Is again, Piglet was picked up to help carry this team. It's gotta still be him. He's the only guy really doing well on this team.
It's kind of unfair for Piglet. What is it about this team that when Keith is there, everyone else seems to do better? Piglet needs to carry this game if Team Liquid wants to win with 2 0-4-1 solo laners.
Yeah.
That's putting a bit much on an AD carry. Xpecial equalizer.
Jump on in. Porpoise goes and looks for FeniX here, but he jumps in with the ult. He tries to get out. Looks like he will survive it. Zhonya's pops. Dodo zones the team, but Quas will re-engage.
This is
he
good.
He is exhausted. 1-for-1 supports die. Piglet looks for cleanup. CaliTrolz might fall. Flashes the wall. Piglet, though, still on the chase. base. Can he get more? Looks for the red. Porpoise, very tanky, but knocked up. It's going to be a 3-for-1 that Team Liquid win, and Baron's on the field.
Wow, they find the fight in the choke. Quas shuts him down with the stun. Piglet cleans him up with the damage. Team Liquid finds a fight out of nowhere, and now they can stay in the game.
Okay, down to a 3,000 gold lead. That'll become 1.5 when Baron falls off the map. Now, how about split push? How about minion pressure? Bot lane 2-2 actually died 2 minions, so teammate found something. They will respawn in time for Dragon 5, so the fights aren't over. So Team Liquid found something finally.
They really did. I mean, looking at this fight again, the equalizer was a little bit premature there by CaliTrolz. They also try and initiate through the box. Look at how slow teammate is getting in there. Also, watch the zone control right here. Cataclysm to hold them in, Kennen ult to keep them in. It gives Piglet time to free hit. And then in this small corridor, Piglet jumping back and forth is playing a real dangerous game. He makes sure he stays away from maplestreet, waits for the backup to come in behind him, and then finishes the game. That was the Piglet that everyone was hoping to get, the guy who farms the whole game and then plays those late game team fights smartly. Infinity Edge for the 5th Dragon contest and a Baron buff. This fight will be huge.
Baron buff versus a 1,300 gold lead. Slooshi looks to poke. Not as much damage on FeniX now that he's got the extra MR from the Guardian Angel.
The timing of this fight is very critical. It looks like the ultimates will all be back up if a few more seconds are stalled up. Quas needs his Kennen ultimate. Teammates should have rushed this, but they're not sure on the timer.
They're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. Dragon 5 goes in. Team Liquid, of course, not gonna fight, but they're gonna start the battle anyway. Zonia's CaliTrolz will not take death mark damage, but a lot of AoE. Vi goes into the back line. Piglet on the back as well. Dodo pushes the team back, but that will be a kettle onto Janna. It's a 2-for-1 so far. Maple trading blows. He's got to be careful. More backline pressure. Big damage comes in from Slooshi. Takes everyone down in a triple kill. It's only Quas. It's going to be another picked up by Graves. Teammate owned the map again.
But the game is not over, I don't think. The minion waves are pushed away. Teammate's going to try their damnedest to get in that one.
1,200 health on Vi. 300 armor.
Really do not understand Team Liquid's hesitancy with engaging that fight. I think they were hoping for another engage from Teammate, but Teammate did the smart thing and just took the Dragon.
Chat, there's 30 seconds. The minion wave's coming
There's
now.
a chance they're going to be getting that. They managed to pull the minion wave. Ooh, it's a really long time. This could actually be the
Still
game.
25 seconds. They go back in. There's the wave. Turret goes down. Inhibitor's next. 20 seconds on Thresh.
I think they have.
Here's the wave.
There's so much AP
They
on
do 30% bonus damage
that he's
also
going to be chunking that turret as well. Yeah, this
number 1.
Teammate just won.
Turret number 2. That's going to be it. That's going to be Team 8 taking down Team Liquid. 4 wins in a row. They move up the standings.
What a great win for Team 8. They played the 5-Dragon game. They got the 5th Dragon. They won the team fight. They won the game. I mean, in a sense, that is a textbook example of how to win the game through Dragon control.
They never let them in. They never over-aggressed in the split push. But man, they had Porpoise right there every time FeniX went too far. Picked him off, picked him off, picked him off again. And he just made Team Liquid stop playing the game.
Moving Team 8 to 7-6 now. Tied, actually, with Team Liquid. And speaking of Team Liquid, they looked incredibly dejected after that match. Giving up that 5th Dragon ultimately to the team fight, and then Slooshi just jumping into everyone. That is a tough way to lose for Team Liquid.
Well, it's still a 3-way tie, Jatt, but this time that 3-way tie is for 4th place. Team Liquid, Impulse, Team 8. Right there, sitting at, hey, maybe we get to the top half of the bracket. Hey, maybe we get a nice easy seed. Maybe we get an easier first round match. Maybe we make top 4. And with how good some of these teams are looking, I mean, by the measuring sticks of who beats whom, all of these teams are honestly potential runners for, like, seriously, like, #1 is a possibility for all these guys.
It's a late-breaking story in the NALCS. The players were saying it before the games today, that they don't think the middle of the pack is as far away from the top as people believe.
Yeah.
Because in the standings for the last few weeks, it has really looked like there is this upper echelon of NALCS teams, TSM, CLG, Cloud9, a definite middle pack,
Yeah.
And that's being challenged today.
Yeah.
Winter Fox going the distance against TSM, the upset the Team Impulse had over Cloud9, and this game right here.
Yeah. Guess what? Team Liquid beat TSM and CLG in the last couple of weeks. Well, Teammate just beat them. Team Impulse just beat TSM.
Yeah.
Teammate beat them as well. Like, these guys are trading games back and forth. We're within 2 games between first and fourth. Even a first-round bye is still on the line. We heard Locodogo talk about the fact that it's like, yeah, we can't give up games during the weeks to focus too far in the future. Well, guess what? These games in these weeks, everyone else is improving too. Impulse, Teammate, these guys on the rise.
Yeah, there is some definite questionable decisions in some of these games coming up. Everyone is really competing with each other. But yeah, I completely agree. To add to your everyone beating everyone, this sets up a Teammate versus TSM match tomorrow. Rematch, really. Teammate defeating TSM all the way back in week 1.
Yeah.
That's going to be probably my highlight of matchup tomorrow.
It's going to be exciting. The upsets keep happening in the NALCS, and at a certain point, you got to stop calling them upsets as the teams improve. It's going to be a fun one, guys. The last half of the split, we're going to send it right now, though, down to Rick.